advice. I do have a business degree from Colorado State University. This is where I learned this stuff from. I had a finance teacher who flat out said first day of finance, hey y'all, take notes right here. Invest in index funds. You do that, you just paid for your college. He was right. Hey, what's good, everybody? This is your boy, Pigtail Finance. Just kind of like we're wrapping up kind of our initial introduction to this channel. What I wanted to talk about really quickly was investing. Okay, so we've walked the initial foundations that we need. We start to understand what principles we're going to leverage to be able to retire early or become financially independent. Now that we understand those, we've budgeted, we've set an expense, we're monitoring our expenses, we are lowering unnecessary items, trimming the fat from the budget. We are working very hard, we are collecting paychecks, and now that we've got this surplus of money in our paycheck, right? Like let's say our monthly expenses are $2,000 and we've made $3,000 that month. We have $1,000 surplus, okay? And what are we going to do with that $1,000, right? What we keep hearing, like, I like my money to make money. Well, what does that mean? What does that really mean? Well, I mean, on the surface, it is what it sounds, right? You're taking that $1,000 extra and you are going to put it to work for you. How do we do that? We're going to do that through investing, okay? And this is a high level, very high level summary of this, right? So, we could delve into a lot more detail about investment vehicles and instruments and where to put your money. I'm just trying to give you like the smoothed out path and kind of take out some of the noise and just go, hey man, this is probably the closest, safest, easiest bet that you can rinse and repeat. It's worked since the inception of the stock market. There is no reason to think it won't work going forward. In my small amount of time in the middle, it's worked very well. I have no reason to be apprehensive about it, and I have no reason not to give you this advice. So you might argue, and there's all, hey, this is the internet, right? So there's going to be somebody out there that's like, cryptocurrency this, or invest in gold that, or whatever. I'm not here to kind of play these what's hot and what's trending types of things, right? I take very sound investment advice. I do have a business degree from Colorado State University. This is where I learned this stuff from. I had a finance teacher who flat out said first day of finance, hey y'all, take notes right here. Invest in index funds. You do that, you just paid for your college. He was right. He was right, okay? So, I get it, man. There's people getting rich on crypto. There's people doing tech startups in Silicon Valley. There's people starting their own businesses. There's people making money off of gold. I mean, there's lots of different ways. Real estate is another one. There's lots of different ways to make money, okay? There's lots of risks involved with that, too. I'm trying to give you the closest thing to surefire investments that are going to get you the highest amount of return every year with the lowest amount of risk. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that resonates with you guys. So, but by no means do I want to make this sound like this is the only path. I mean, there's definitely people out there, like if you're a handyman and you're good at fixing up houses, oh man, go buy yourself a cheap house in a pretty decent neighborhood. Buy it for very little money with a very low interest on your loan. Fix it up yourself with your skills and sell it. I mean, you can make a great profit doing that stuff. That's not me, right? And that's not 10 out of 10 of us. I'm trying to give advice that's worked for me, that's been told to me, and that works for 10 out of 10 people. So now that you guys kind of understand, I'm not trying to say this is everything for everybody. Well, in a weird way, I'm trying to make my advice universal enough that it works for everybody. But you might be unique with the skills that you have and the knowledge you have to be able to do something slightly different than what all the rest of us can do. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But I just have to kind of put that caveat out there because I'm coming very sincerely with my advice to you guys, and I feel like sometimes there's some snarky people online who might just be like, hey, blah blah blah. I'm a real estate agent and I can do this, or I invested in Bitcoin, when it was $800 and now it's 50,000, and great, good for you, man. Whatever gets you to prosperity, I'm happy. I'm happy for you. There's no haterism going on with me. But like I say, I'm trying to give advice that will work for 10 out of 10 people, and this is it. So let's get down to it. We'll go into the nuances deeper of IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, and how to leverage those, the tax benefits that they provide. That's a little bit too granular for our conversation today. What I want to give you is just kind of what we're going to do with that extra money. So back to our example, $2,000 spend, $3,000 a month income. We've got this surplus now of $1,000 extra dollars. What are we going to do with that? What we're going to do is in varying investment accounts, right? Whether that was initially paying into our 401k, or taking some of that after-tax money and putting it in a Roth IRA, or even after that, after paying taxes, maybe we put it into a brokerage account. All of them are going to be invested very similarly. We are going to find the lowest cost, lowest expense ratio index fund that we can. Now, my personal feeling is, and you guys can have your own thoughts on this, but I really support and believe more in U.S.-based companies, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, it's just the regulation and some of the things that are on them, financial reporting, gap accounting, some of those stipulations, regulations are a little bit more adhered to. They're not always enforced like they should be. There are people that manipulate the system, Bernie Madoffs and Enrons and stuff like that. So there are some bad actors in that. But that is the exception to the rule. And actually what we get into with index investing is they're self-cleaning, right? So if Enron burns us this year, and we've got, let's say, some Enron holdings in index fund that we own, well, guess what? After they get burned in their exposed for the fraud that they were doing to their investors, they're out of the index fund, right? So they're out, and a new person making money and a new company making money is in their place. So, we might have some impact, but we are quickly taken away from them as compared to just investing and owning nothing but Enron. If we own nothing but Enron and their shares went to zero, we've got nothing left, guys. We've lost all of our money. So that's where I like index funds. We're kind of it's the idea of diversification, but it's like as diversified as you can possibly get, right? One of the index holdings that I really like is offered by Vanguard, and we'll get kind of into the actual names and details later. But it holds 4,500 American companies that are publicly traded. And they're kind of by market cap, so they're the largest. But 4,500 American companies, companies like Apple. Apple does business all around the world. They've got stores around the world. They've got manufacturing shops around the world. They're selling to customers around the world. So even though it's an American-based company, it still has a global impact. It's still making money from everybody on the globe. It's just that they're based out of Cupertino, California. They're American-based. They pay taxes into American system. Not that that's what I'm looking for, but what I'm looking for is a little bit more security around some of those regulations. The exact opposite, and I hate to throw out names or throw anybody under the bus, but I just need to use it as an example, is China, right? China, many of their companies are state-owned. Nobody has confidence in how much money they actually make, what their expenses actually are, if their financial guidance is actually correct. So how can you reasonably invest into that when you don't know what they made, you don't know what they spent, you don't know what they're going to earn next year? Those are all things that we need to have faith and reliance and some sort of certainty on its accuracy. You know, I mean, like we're seeing it right now in 2021 with the COVID impact last year, that year over year numbers are just excellent because business was down so hard in 2020. And because it's up now in 2021 comparatively, the stocks are going up because of it. But we've got confidence in that. We understand that behavior. But when it's a foreign entity that might have some kind of shady characters acting in it, we don't have confidence in that. We don't know if it's going to grow. You don't see the investments grow as high. Does that make sense? So that's why I kind of keep my risk pretty much to the U.S. based index funds. Doesn't mean that you can't own global. Doesn't mean that you can't own, if maybe you're from India and you like their economy. Their economy is definitely growing, and it's getting it's very tech advanced, and they are getting more and more tech jobs domestic in India. That's a terrific thing. Their stock market has been doing well. So I don't want to say that this is the only way. This is just my preferred way. It's definitely been told to me through books and through reading people like Warren Buffett, who's top 5 richest men in the world, and just kind of giving the same types of advice of like, hey, America's got a pretty good system. We are sort of the bell cow. We are the standard. Lots of other people from lots of other countries invest into our markets. There's a reason why. So anyway, now you know. We're going to take that $1,000. We're going to put it in a different type of account, whether that's our retirement account or a brokerage account. We're going to put it in a low-cost index fund that's widely spread out. And then we're going to give it time. We're going to give it time, and we're going to keep feeding it, just like you would a plant, right? You're going to give a plant time, you're going to give it light, and you're going to give it water. And all of those things together is going to make your plant grow and be more fruitful. Same idea with your investments, guys. You're going to give it time. You're going to keep feeding it with a lot of money. And you're gonna give it light in the sense that you've done your research and you know what your strategy is. But one other thought before we finish up, this idea of index funds and self-cleaning. Just want to touch on that really quick. Harley Davidson and I believe Neiman Marcus last year were kicked out of the S&P 500. Their revenues just weren't what they used to be. They weren't making the same amount for their shareholders. Their stock shares were going down. They're not in the S&P 500 anymore. Sorry, lost your place. I didn't even have to make a trade, right? I just let it kind of clean itself out. I've got some low performers in the S&P 500. They're gone. They're gone. Guess who came in? Tesla, right? So we all know Tesla. It's a innovative company, but now they're starting to make money. They're starting to produce a lot of cars, produce a lot of battery packs, and they are making money. So, we kicked out the old and we got in the new, and we didn't have to invest. We didn't have to change our investment. We didn't lose a lot of money with Neiman Marcus and Harley Davidson. And to cut the losses, they went ahead and said, you're gone, and we're going to bring in these new big players. So now every Tesla that's sold, we get a little bit richer. Does that make sense? So that's the self-cleaning part of it. And my final note on this, because I really like this thought, and this always made my dad kind of laugh, was, owning 4,500 companies or percentages of those companies. Those people are working for you, right? They're working for you. So when I wake up in the morning and I hear all these cars at 6 a.m. getting ready to commute and go downtown, and do their office job, and whether that's with, the big players, Comcast, Charles Schwab has a big shop out here. Just any of the Quest or telecommunications, Verizon and Sprint, and I'm trying to think of anybody else that's a big hirer out here in Colorado. But guys, they're all working for you. You know what I mean? Every day, every hour of their productivity that they're bringing value into their company, that's making their company money, that's making you money. So I like that feeling. I like that feeling of knowing, let's say 80% of this country and maybe a small percentage of this world, let's call it 10%, 15%, are working for you, right? You're a big boss now. You're a big boss, right? They might not see it that way, but I definitely see it that way. And it makes me feel good. It helps me roll over and kind of get a couple extra hours of sleep when everybody else is working so hard for me. I know that they're taking care of me, and I just need to take care of resting and recouping and taking care of myself. So anyway, y'all, empowerment. I love you guys. We're going to get there. Click like, smash subscribe. Tell me in the comments, what are you guys feeling? Are you excited? Are you motivated? Are you ready for this journey? Are you already on this journey? Where are you at? What's working for you? Talk to me, guys. I like it to be a two-way conversation. But I hope that you're getting a lot out of this series. And, this one kind of went long, so we'll just kind of wrap it up. But nothing but love. Pigtails Finance. Peace.